Hello and welcome to Wednesday's programme.
Your headlines tonight. As the assisted dying debate goes on, a Gloucestershire woman with multiple sclerosis says she'll continue her fight to end her life with dignity.
It is inhumane to force someone who does not wish to be forced to endure unspeakable pain.
Also tonight, celebrations in Bath to honour the university's Winter Olympics success.
The journey of a lifetime. Somerset balloonist Brian Jones relives the first non-stop balloon flight around the world.
And I am in Chipping, Sodbury. Some of the biggest names in showbiz are heading here over the next few days, and I will be speaking to one who is absolute gold later in the programme.
A very good evening. A woman from Gloucestershire with multiple sclerosis who wants to choose to die with dignity when her condition deteriorates says she'll continue to fight for the assisted dying bill.
The right for a terminally ill patient to medically end their life has been one of the most divisive issues voted for in Parliament. The process for the bill to become law stalled in the House of Lords last month. Well, in a moment, we'll be hearing from Alicia Fitzgerald with the latest from Westminster. But first, Victoria Davis has been to meet Anne Jappy at her home in Cheltenham.
Anne Jappy has MS. When the time is right, she says she wants to be able to choose when to die.
It is inhumane to force someone who does not wish to be forced to endure unspeakable pain. Where is the humanity in that?
Anne, who lives in Cheltenham, has been campaigning for assisted dying to be legal in this country for decades. MPs voted twice in favour of the Terminally Ill Adults End of Life bill, but it stalled during the debate at the House of Lords as the bill ran out of time. Supporters of assisted dying have blamed opponents in the Lords for purposely slowing down progress.
How angry are you?
I almost don't have words to fully express my rage, distress, utter bewilderment. The folk who objected and used a parliamentary procedure to delay it after the House of Commons and a huge percentage of the British population say we need assisted dying. Unconscionable. Where was their ethical, moral stance? How can they have justified it?
Assisted dying is a highly divisive issue which has sparked debate on both sides. But Anne says the ability to choose when to die would bring great comfort to her and others.
That would be a relief beyond measure, because at the back of my mind I would know that at the point at which it became truly, utterly intolerable, I could gather my friends and make a plan and arrange my affairs, such as they are, and have dignified, quiet time and place of my choosing.
Anne says the fight to make assisted dying legal will continue, as she wants to know that when the time comes, she can die with dignity. Victoria Davis, ITV News, Cheltenham.
Alicia Fitzgerald joins us from Westminster now. Alicia, really tough words from Anne there. And there are lots of people with similar stories. How close did we come to the assisted dying bill becoming law this time round?
Well, despite this being such a high profile and a really divisive debate that so many of us already know about, it did ultimately fail in its process passing between the House of Commons and the House of Lords. That's actually because the bill just ran out of time. Now, what I'm about to say might sound a little bit dull, but please stick with me. This is because it's what we call a private member's bill. It means it's a piece of legislation that's proposed by an individual MP rather than the government as a whole. For these bills in particular, they aren't automatically passed on from one parliamentary session on to the next. That means that when Parliament closed just before the King's speech, that bill was basically put to an end. And it wasn't reintroduced for this parliamentary session. So that's why ultimately that time constraint really proved to be the thing that toppled it, even though it did look overall like most MPs definitely seem to be in favour of this. The big question now is definitely what happens next. So many MPs really vying to get it reintroduced, and that's what we'll be hearing about a little bit later on.
Oh, yeah, not dull at all. You explained it so well. So, Alicia, what are the chances then? What is happening next of it becoming law?
So the only way, really, that this could be reintroduced in this parliamentary session is for it to be another private member's bill. This would mean that another MP, a different one to the last time, would have to reintroduce it into a ballot. This ballot basically randomly selects about 20 bills that get debated over the next parliamentary session. So there's a lot basically hanging on it, and we actually hear about the result of that ballot tomorrow. There is some feeling, a sense of hope and optimism that there will be an MP who has put their name forward in the hope that this gets discussed. But of course, it is all basically a chance and we don't actually know yet. And then, of course, we face the added obstacles that we faced last time. There is a world in which the time runs out again and we are actually in the same position as we were this time round. As well as that, there are lots of MPs who are kind of on the fence about this at the moment. And the worry is that those MPs this time round might pass their vote from being in favour, actually ultimately to being against. So there's so many variables that ride on this, and none of it is really certain. But what we do know is that this debate is far from settled and far from over, and the voices in favour of it are very loud.
OK, Alicia, in Westminster, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, there are those against it. And, let us know if you have any feelings either way on this. Plus, if you have been affected by anything that we have just discussed, there's loads of information where you can find help, support as well. Just go over and have a look on our website.
Next night, Bristol City Council is due to vote on controversial plans to build more than 250 homes on Brislington Meadows at its meeting tonight. Last month, councillors deferred their decision over concerns about the impact on wildlife habitats. Outline planning permission has already been granted, and developer Keep Moat says a significant area of the historic grassland will be kept as green space. Campaigners against the decision argue the meadows must be protected.
A former teacher and boarding master at a school in Bristol has been charged with historic sexual offences against 5 boys. 79-year-old David Wright is due to appear at Bristol Magistrates Court tomorrow, accused of 11 offences which were alleged to have happened at Queen Elizabeth's Hospital Independent School in the 80s and 90s. The school says it's been cooperating with the police throughout the course of their investigation.
Now, the Winter Olympics may seem like a while ago, but today a special event is honouring the success of some of Team GB's athletes who train right here in the West Country. A number of athletes who used the University of Bath as their base took part in the Games. Now, the highlight, of course, though, Tabby Stoker and Matt Weston winning their gold medals in the skeleton events.
Weston's achievements in particular saw him become the first British athlete to secure multiple golds at the same Winter Games. It also took Team Bath's medal tally at the Winter Olympics through to the fantastic 10 medals. 6 of those have been golds. Now, tonight, Ross Arnott is at the event at Bath Guildhall. So, Ross, this is a real celebratory atmosphere, isn't it? I should think, although a quiet one.
Yeah, you might just be able to hear the claps now, but yes, I'm being a little bit quiet because they're actually just getting the athletes up onto the stage. We just had Marcus White up there, obviously West Country based as well, University of Bath based. He achieved some great success, but yeah, an amazing achievement for so many people linked to the University of Bath, their achievements throughout Milano Cortina and bringing home a number of medals. We got some of the big highlights here, but the main one, obviously, Matt Weston, and he was able to become a double gold medal winning athlete. Matt, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate the fact you've come out of that meeting to talk to us. How do you feel a few months on from what's such a special occasion?
Yeah, I think it definitely still hasn't sunk in. It's so unbelievable. It's something you dream of as when you grow up, especially as an athlete. You want to not only go to the games, but become Olympic champion is kind of the pinnacle of it. And the fact that I've achieved it, I don't think is going to sink in for quite a few years to come, to be honest. Maybe when I fully retire and maybe a few years down the line, but definitely not now.
And we've just seen Marcus on the stage there, and you're all now inducted into the University of Bath Hall of Fame. How does that feel? Because there's so many athletes that have come through this centre.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a great centre for sport within England. We train there. I've lived in and around Bath for about 9 years. Marcus maybe a bit longer, but I don't want to put his age out on TV. So no, it's amazing. And like you say, some of the names of the people that are up on the Hall of Fame already, it's like you look at them, they're some of the greats. It's to have our names, our three names up there with those guys is pretty incredible, to have that recognition of not only the success, but also the hard work that kind of goes into making these performances.
Now, the facility is extra special, obviously, and you and so many others train there. But actually, there's been a huge interest in the number of people signing up for Winter Olympic sports. What have you made of that? Thousands more interested in skeleton.
I think we were hoping for around 1,000 and we got 7,000 applicants. So
there must be something wrong with them.
I think you have to have something wrong with you to do skeleton, to be honest. I think, sometimes watching myself on TV, I'm like, what am I doing? It's pretty crazy. But having 7,000, to me, it's kind of a very tangible thing and tangible impact that we've had on people in the country, because whilst I was at the Games, I wasn't on social media, I wasn't really taking any of it in, so I had no idea of the hype that skeleton produced whilst we were out there racing. So to come home and see that 7,000 people have decided that, I've seen that, and not only looked up the sport, but have applied to become hopefully a next Olympic medalist is pretty incredible, actually. It's kind of very, very nice thing to have on your CV that hopefully I was a part of inspiring these guys.
Well, I have to get past you first, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But Matt, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go because you're about to be entered into the Hall of Fame. So thank you very much. But
thank you very much.
An amazing night for everyone connected to the University of Bath.
That was so nice, Ross. Thank you so much for that. So modest, and yet it made a massive difference.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You think, my goodness, that achievement, and yet they're so calm, so humble, just superstars.
He's also saying, oh, it may have been me.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, it was you.
Yeah, and all those years of work and discipline, amazing. OK, now, hedgehogs are classified as vulnerable to extinction in England, and experts at the Avon Wildlife Trust are encouraging us to make our gardens hedgehog-friendly to help protect them.
Factors like loss of habitat, an increase in the use of pesticides, these have caused numbers to fall dramatically in recent years. But at the moment, we don't actually know precise population numbers. That's why a monitoring project's now underway to try and find out more. Kevin Ashford reports.
Hedgehogs are becoming an increasingly rare sight in this country due to factors like a decline in habitats and food sources. Avon Wildlife Trust says people can do their bit to help by making their gardens hedgehog-friendly.
They can travel up to 2 kilometres a night. We want them to be able to connect with other areas, allow them to transverse into other gardens as well, make a hedgehog highway. Small holes in walls, in fences, really helps hedgehogs to move around.
Hedgehog numbers have declined in recent decades, although the precise population size isn't known.
So we're going to put a camera on this tree here. This is close to our ideal spot.
Which is why cameras like this one are being used to get a snapshot of how many of the creatures we have.
Hedgehogs, they're often voted one of the the most popular mammals in Britain. They're such fantastic species, but they're also really important as a sort of indicator species. So if hedgehogs are in trouble, it's a pretty good indication that other species are in trouble. And conversely, if we help hedgehogs, if we try and put in measures to help hedgehogs, we'll be helping lots of other species as well. So they're a really nice kind of indicator species for us.
Now, one of the big challenges of finding out just how many hedgehogs we have is the fact that they can be quite shy creatures and are also nocturnal, which is where these cameras really come into their own. They're triggered by both motion and heat, and they record all wildlife activity 24 hours a day. Data from the monitoring survey will be analysed with the help of artificial intelligence and human volunteers to spot hedgehogs amongst the other wildlife. There are signs that in urban areas hedgehog populations may be stabilising, and gardeners are being urged to help with this trend.
They need lots of food, so having areas where there's a bit of longer grass, hedges and bushes that they can snuffle around in and find invertebrates like earthworms and beetles and caterpillars to eat is really important. Compost heaps are great. heaps of leaves and log piles where they can hibernate. And also if you can provide some water, that's really valuable, not just for hedgehogs but other wildlife too.
It's hoped the monitoring survey will give a better picture of hedgehog populations to help tackle the decline in numbers before it's too late. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
I could watch them all day.
Well, I tell you what, I bet your garden is hedgehog friendly.
I have got a few hedgehogs, yeah.
Yeah.
They're very, very welcome.
Yeah,
Probably having babies right now.
Oh.
Right, you're watching ITV News in the West Country with Ellie and Alex.
Thank you for joining us this Wednesday evening. Still ahead before 6:30, Ellie Louise is mingling with big names getting ready to perform in Chipping Sodbury, lucky thing.
Yeah, Ellie, can you believe I am on the stage at Good Times Live? Now, don't worry, I'm not about to sing, but I am going to bring you the big names that are coming here over the next few days, and I'll be chatting to one of them as well.
And not only increasing amounts of blue sky as we head through the next few days, but those temperatures still build to creep up and up.
Yeah, we need to see Charlie, don't we? Because I still can't believe it's going to get warmer.
We've been so chilly.
And rainy.
Yeah.
Right, next tonight, a new documentary. A famous balloonist from Somerset has been recounting his experience of being part of the first team to fly non-stop around the world in a hot air balloon.
The Balloonists, which will be released this Friday, tells the incredible story of Brian Jones and his co-pilot Bertrand Piccard's daring feat in 1999. Louisa Britton has been to meet him at his home in Somerset.
We decided to be the first to fly around the world non-stop in a balloon.
We were going to change everything. We only had 6 months to build this balloon.
A British and a Swiss balloonist have started the first non-stop balloon flight around the globe.
When the Orbiter 3 mission took off in 1999, no one knew if its goal was even possible. The 26,000-mile flight was piloted by Swiss explorer Bertrand Piccard and Brian Jones from Somerset.
It does tell a story of how we overcame adversity, our sort of tenacity, courage to some extent, but perseverance as well, that we actually achieved what we wanted to achieve in the end. And so it was worth it all, you know.
There were many times when Brian and Bertrand found themselves in imminent danger.
We looked out of the portholes, and ahead of us, we could see these huge storm clouds.
Whilst flying over the Pacific, they were surrounded by violent thunderstorms. Without communication to the ground, and knowing that if they ditched into the ocean, no one would be able to rescue them.
Were there moments where you thought, I don't think I'm going to be coming home?
That was scary, yeah. When we lost communications, it was over the Pacific, and they couldn't advise us to climb or descend or try to change course. And so that was very difficult. And then to look out of the window and see these huge storm clouds. I look back on that and wonder sometimes sort of how we got through it. I think in the English public school system, they'd call it good character building stuff. But we were really scared.
Hello everybody, this is the Breitling Orbiter 3 balloon, currently over the Sahara Desert.
Despite the treacherous conditions, the two pilots relied on each other to persevere.
How important was that friendship?
It was an extraordinary relationship, really. I mean, during the whole 3 weeks, there was not a single crossword passed between us, not one. After the flight, when a similar question was asked at a press conference, Bertrand came up with this phrase of, well, we took off as pilots, we flew as friends and landed as brothers, which kind of summed it up in a way.
Their adventure is now told in a new documentary, The Balloonists, which Brian hopes will reach new audiences.
It's 27 years ago, and a lot of people that will be watching this weren't even born then. And one of the extraordinary things, I suppose, looking back on it, is that 27 years later, 4 of our world records that we were given still stand. It's still the longest flight of any form of flying machine in terms of both duration and distance.
Nearly 3 decades may have passed, but Brian's record-breaking achievements endure. Louisa Britton, ITV News.
Just amazing.
27 years ago, that almost hurts though. Brian's a wonderful man, isn't he?
Lounge.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The ITV News continues after us with the national and international stories at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the programme, the Prime Minister postpones an increase in fuel duty as the government changes its sanctions on Russian oil. The latest on Spygate. Southampton appeal their ban from the Championship playoff over a spying scandal. And the Jurassic mystery is solved, why the T-Rex had such tiny arms. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Now that's a good tease. Right, if you want to see some of the biggest names in music and comedy, you often have to travel to big cities, don't you? Maybe a huge music venue or even a festival like Glastonbury.
Yes, but this weekend it's the big names who are doing the travelling, the likes of the Human League, Jessie J, Madness, all heading to, wait for it, Chipping Sodbury in South Gloucestershire for Good Times Live. And that's where Ellie Louise Ringe is for us this evening. Now, Ellie, first of all, we're hoping you're going to sing, but also this is really quite incredible for the town, isn't it?
It really is, Ellie. First of all, can I just say I would not put you through me singing, but I am on the stage here at Good Times Live. And it is incredible when you think that this is one of the newer festivals in the region. It's only been going, this is its 4th year. So let me bring you over and speak to one of the organisers. James, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for
coming.
coming.
You've got these really big names coming, haven't you?
We have.
And, you know, it's really funny talking to you before that you've actually put on the website, these are not tribute acts, these are the real deal coming here.
When people see Jessie J, Tom Odell, Emily Sandé, Madness coming to Chipping Sodbury, they assume it might be a scam or a trick. But in the past, we've had McFly, Billy Ocean, so this is the real deal, just on your doorstep.
And you're expecting huge crowds over the next few days?
Yeah, over the whole week, we've got over 30,000 people joining us. There are still some tickets left available, but tonight is a brilliant, busy 80s night to kickstart the weekend.
Yeah, an 80s night on this stage, the real deal, the Human League will be playing in the next few hours, accompanied by some very special guests, and I'm going to chat to one of them now, a man who needs very little introduction from me. Here he is, Martin Kemp. Hello, thank you so much for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
Welcome to Chipping Sodbury.
Thank you very much. Listen, it's great. You know, wherever we go and wherever we play, you know, it's just a buzz. The whole watching like thousands of people sing along to songs that they know so well, and I think what it is people forget how good you feel when you sing, and you sing at the top of your voice, you know, and that gives you so much adrenaline and so many endorphins, and you forget that. And that's when you play to these guys that are coming along today, over the next few days, they're going to be doing exactly that.
And I was going to say, many people know you from your days in Spandau Ballet. They might know your career as an actor, but you're here tonight as a DJ, aren't you? Let us know what to expect from your set.
Oh, we will do a lot of some sing-along 80s, I think, for everyone. That's why everyone's here, you know, to enjoy themselves and to have a bit of a party. And that's what I want to give them, to be honest. Walk away from here thinking, I've had a great time.
There is something about that, isn't there? That kind of nostalgia. We know the world is as it is at the moment, so just to be able to come here, and there's a real appetite for that nostalgia, isn't there? Is that something you're finding?
Well, yeah, there's an appetite for it. There's always been an appetite for nostalgia. I remember growing up and my mum and dad would say, oh, you know, we missed the 60s, that was the best time of our lives, you know, and everybody looked at the 60s as if that was. But people of our age, or my age, look back at the 80s, and that's our year. So, but everybody has their decades.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great night tonight, isn't it? I'll let you get back to preparations, Martin. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Pleasure.
The party is going to get underway here, and can I just say, guys, there is not a tribute act in sight.
No, there isn't. I mean, what a night.
I can't believe it, Ellie. Oh, that was so exciting.
That is life goals done. To be interviewing Martin Kemp.
I know.
And
how nice is he as well?
Oh, my goodness me. That is, yeah, I mean, what a night. For Ellie Louise as well.
I know, I don't think she'll be over it for a while.
No, I wouldn't be. Anyway, OK, but the festival season is heating up across the region, and it looks like the weather is too. May has been a bit grey so far, reflected in a gloomy-looking Bath this afternoon. But blue skies are on the horizon, and Charlie has your forecast.
ancient sites will clear, bringing local dishes in the afternoon. TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
Hello. Now, the next few days will give us an improving picture when it comes to the weather, with things drying out quite nicely. We'll see a lot of dry and sunny weather being replaced as high pressure nudges in, and temperatures as billed will be heading upwards well above average for this late stage in May. The high pressure itself is a little bit towards the southeast of the UK, but it's still close enough to make sure that any fronts that still head our way don't really produce much in the way of rainfall, but instead increasingly light winds, some pretty decent sunny skies, and yes, those temperatures picking up quite nicely too. It has been quite cloudy, though, earlier today, and that cloud's going to stick around a little bit as we head through tonight. Not a complete sheet of the stuff overhead, but not a huge amount of clear sky either. Maybe a little bit of hill fog here and there, and therefore temperatures not dropping all that far. Once again, we'll be in double figures in most of our towns and cities, and maybe down to 9 or 10 Celsius out in the countryside. So it's a pretty mild start again tomorrow. Fair amount of cloud around first thing tomorrow, but it looks like a dry day, and that cloud is just going to gradually break and clear away as we head through the course of the afternoon. So increasing amounts of sunshine, higher levels of UV, and temperatures up to 21 or 22 Celsius, certainly the further north you are. So already seeing some of that heat building quite nicely. Beyond that, though, all of us will probably see temperatures at least in the low 20s, if not the mid-20s, as we head through the bank holiday weekend and into the start of half-term. And with that, probably increasing amounts of sunshine too, so the timing is exquisite for some pretty fine weather ahead.
TUI sponsors ITV West Country weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
And you may have guessed that as temperatures start to climb and the weather gets much more settled, then so too will those pollen levels start to rise. So not the best news for hay fever sufferers. It has been low for ages, but as we head towards the weekend, getting up towards high.
Yeah, the other side to the coin. But what an optimistic general finish to the programme. And in case you missed it earlier this week, this is lovely as well. On ITVX, we've been to visit an incredible group in South Gloucestershire. They're helping people of all ages and abilities to get on a bike.
The Warmley Wheelers in South Gloucestershire offers sessions using specialist bikes and trikes down the Bristol to Bath cycle path. And they say their mission extends far beyond exercise.
Yeah, it's all over on ITVX. It's lovely.
Oh, it looks lovely. I'll have the Nate News for you at 10:30.
After the break, the ITV News continues. Take care from all of us here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.